Alright, cool. Welcome to another edition of our Tenderloin Virtual Program Network. This is Jonel Molina, the High School Services Director, once again. And today's topic is Snail Mail, right? Learning and knowing what Snail Mail is, and more specifically, how to send Snail Mail, right? In this digital age, everything is really quick in terms of our phones, via text, or even our computers through email. And not many people are familiar with the old school traditional styles of snail mail, which is really, really important these days, right? It's a lost. All right, so we go with snail mail, right? And when I really refer to snail mail, it's the traditional form of writing out a letter or sending a card, putting a stamp and all that, and sending it to someone, right? And so they receive some physical mail, as opposed to email, right? Which I have the definition here is, short for electronic mail. We all have our Gmail, our Yahoo, whatever emails we have from work. And so with email, when we send a message or information, it's instant, depending on your internet connection, and you send it to the other person's electronic mail address, they receive it right away, right? In comparison to snail mail, right, which is a slang for sending mail through the postal service or the post office, right? It's slower, or it takes time to get to the destination address, depending on who you're sending it to, right? Home, business, a friend, right? Or you're reaching out to folks. So snail mail, usually it could take anywhere from like 1 to 2 days to maybe even a week, depending on how far you send your mail and to who, right? If you're sending it locally, like in San Francisco, they could probably receive it the next day. If you send it across the country, or maybe to Los Angeles or even New York, a couple days to a week, right? I have family that lives in Japan. If I send something to my brother, it's going to take definitely at least a week if I'm sending it through the mail, right? And then a lot of the times, snail mail is different ways that we're sending these physical forms of messages through paper, right? Whether it's birthdays, I put weddings here, baby showers, all these different kind of events, from like graduations, right? So sending graduation cards or congratulations to our graduates of 2020, folks getting promotions, celebrating anniversaries, and well wishes, right, for folks. So different ways of why people would be sending snail mail to people, right? All right, cool. So, in terms of setting up your snail mail for successful delivery, what is the event? What's the purpose? So for today, we're going to say we're celebrating Mike Vong's birthday, right? Our clubhouse director. And he happens to be a big Batman fan. So really when you're sending out snail mail, especially if in this form it's like a birthday card, you want to get something that connects and speaks to that person's personality. For Mike, he's a big fan of Batman, right? He is known as Batman in his other circles, from his friends, family, and even here at work. So legendary, thrilling, extraordinary. That's what Mike does in terms of his strength of character, being crafty, and his integrity as one of our leaders here at the clubhouse and in the Tenderloin community, and even across SF, especially in the Mission area, right? And then you gotta, poke a little bit of fun, right? So we say happy birthday, yo, Bat, and it's coming from love, with love, from the TL Clubhouse Squad. Then this is what, say, that birthday card would go to. This is a picture of a envelope, right? And so that birthday card would go in the envelope. And a lot of times people don't know how to fill out an envelope. And where do you put the information? So we're just going to go through these basics. Because in line 1, the sender's first and last name or which company. Line 2, the address, right? Where are you sending it from, ideally, right? And then line 3, you want the city, state, and zip code, right? And so that's from the sender. That's who's sending the mail, right? And then there should be a recipient, meaning the person who's receiving it. And it follows a very similar format. But once again, who is the recipient's first and last name, right? Their address. And then, of course, their city, state, and zip code as well. As you notice, where the information goes for the sender and the recipient, right? Usually the sender is in the upper left-hand corner of an envelope, while the recipient is in the middle to lower right-hand area of an envelope. And then, if you're really trying to send some mail, all right, you got to pay for it because it's traveling information, so you got to make sure you have a stamp, right? And so in the next slide, we're going to get some basics on the stamps, right? Because it's really important to have stamps. All right, and so what you see is from lines 1, 2, and 3 in the previous slide to now, we've put a sample address here, right? Coming from the Tenderloin Clubhouse team, and the address is 123 Tenderloin Manor Avenue, along with San Francisco, California, and the zip code of the Tenderloin, right? And so just remember, this is the sender's information, right? And then we also know who are we sending it to, right? Which is the recipient. So we're saying, once again, this is for Mike. It's a birthday card we're sending to him. So Michael Vaughn, sample address 123 Daly City Batcave Manor Avenue, right? Daly City, California, and then a mock zip code. And so remember, having all this information for the recipient, right, is very important. And then, of course, making sure you have a stamp, right? No stamp means it's going to be sent back to you until you get correct postage and paying for the information of getting this birthday card from point A to point B, right? It's going to cost something, and that's why you get important. So let's take a look at what stamps are. Usually you're thinking of like a sticker, right? It's like it has an adhesive on the back, and either you can buy them at the post office, you can buy them online as well, get them delivered to you. You can even get it at your ATM and in these other forms. And some key stamps, right? Right now the stamps are worth for first class 60 cents. And then we have these ones called forever stamps that are equivalent to the first class cost of a stamp, which is 60 cents, but they don't expire as well, right? And then, as time changes, you can go add more money to stamps, because some stamps, have a different price range. So you could buy stamps that are worth 1 cent or 3 cents to make sure it's equivalent to that year. Because stamps that from like 2000 to now have changed a lot, right? They didn't get the forever stamps till about 2011, right? And it was a big thing. And if you look in the middle of this slide, there's recently for July they have the hip hop forever, right, stamps, the forever hip hop stamps. And there's 4 different designs of the 4 representing the 4 elements of hip hop, which is MC, B-boy, B-girl, right, graffiti art, and then also the DJ. So that's a really personal touch that I really enjoy about stamps. You can get stamps from like Sesame Street to even related to music. And then where do you drop off this snail mail? Well, hopefully at your local post office. You could look online in the Yelp and where's the closest one in your neighborhood. And you definitely want to check the local post office hours. Usually it's on weekdays from 9 to 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then on weekends 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. So the times for the post office are different at each space. And then if you don't want to go inside, right, and even in your neighborhood, you can look for these like blue post office boxes, and that's where you could drop off your snail mail as well. Once you drop it off, the mail person comes, they pick it up, and it could, like I said, it could be anywhere from the next day of the mail being received, right, by the recipient, or it could be 3 days or a week, right? But just some simple things in terms of how to send and prepare your snail mail, because sometimes we have our teens or teen interns write letters to themselves in the future, and then they have trouble or challenges of how to fill out the envelope. Like, how do you write the name, the address, and all that. So hopefully this is just a simple tutorial of how to fill that out. And so once again, today's topic was on how to learn and know and send the snail mail. So check out our YouTube channel, comment, like, any questions of when you have received snail mail. How does it feel when you receive a personal email from a friend, a coworker, and anyone else? Once again, my name is Jonel Molina. I am the High School Services Director here at the Boys and Girls Clubs of SF, Tenderloin Clubhouse. Thank you for your time.